Introducing the first residents of Willow Way. Rupert and Clara Bramble live at number 4 in a charming thatched cottage with their miniature schnauzer, Magnus. Rupert is a retired farmhand who spends his days fishing by the Bramblewoods river and sinking a pint or two in the cloaked lantern, while Clara partakes in Henford's WI and is considered one of Lady Henford's closest confidants. Little does she know, Clara is a chief gossiper with the Reverend Bellamy of Finchwick Parish Chapel. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to World Renovation and to Willow Way, which is our next build in the series for Henford-on-Bagley. Now, I've gone ahead and mapped out what will be a cul-de-sac of stoned thatched cottages, inspired by some that I've come across from, of course, the Cotswolds. Now, this is going to be very cute, very quaint, and I really want to bring in some realism. So what I've done is gone ahead away from camera and mapped out a faux street, I guess you could call it, elevated each build and mapped out everything that I need, color coordinated it, so it all makes sense. We're going to fit 4 houses on this lot. Given the space constraints, I figured that was just enough. Also, the fact that we're only allowed 8 sims on each lot without mods. Now, the property that we're going to focus on first is going to be 4 Willow Way, and that's where the Brambles will reside, who you've just been introduced to at the start of this video. And in the yellow build adjacent, I think we may just have a single elder sim, and the top left green build is going to be, I think, a parent and a child, so a single parent and a child. And then that leaves space for potentially 3 sims to move into the red outline build. I just thought this was easier to map out this way. And anything with the white lines will just be their private fences. So I'm just going to show you what I've done. Get out of tab mode, swing you down. So I thought it was fitting to add actual willows to this lot, so I've included 3 main ones, and I imagine the houses were built around these willows back in the day, I guess, when Henford was really starting to take shape. Now I've used some of the foundations to lift it and, as I mentioned, make it look like a faux street, and pulled out a few things from the debug menu, including this gorgeous dogwood tree, which I believe came with cats and dogs, so it'd be really pretty to have some fake cars parked around this area. Just add a nice bit of frontage. Now there's no real natural road that leads from this lot, unfortunately. It's kind of cut away with grass, but I'm just going to pretend, make believe after all. Now, as I mentioned, you guys were introduced to the Bramble family. Very cute elderly couple and their miniature schnauzer dog. So I'm going to start things off here in this section, and you might see that I've pulled out the stone wall, I believe, from Cottage Living. I think that's going to be the main fencing I'm going to use for this entire area. So without further ado, let's get into build mode and create a Cotswold-inspired stone cottage. So the rather handy thing about having these guides is it's pretty much a case of following the dots. I just need to unhide that lot. Yes, I do. So it's going to be quite a small house. I'm thinking maybe I could squeeze in 2 bedrooms, if that's a possibility. And I want to do some interesting things with the roof line. Come across quite a few images of cottages that are very higgledy-piggledy, as you can imagine. Now, built this away from camera just to make sure I was doing the right thing. And what I did is, I believe I left a space all across here to add a roof line. Let's just get this box in first. And then, did I pull this one over or not? I could maybe have pulled this to here. Yeah. Remove that wall. And then I created a window box to, well, let's say we're going to have the front door here, one little window in this section. So maybe that's big enough? Unsure. Let's get to the roofing on, shall we? So I think I used the half gabled roof for this section, I think. And tucked in the flaps on this side. Moved it down slightly. I think maybe even I tucked in that flap and then curved it ever so. This will all be subject to change, I'm sure. And then copied that over, extended it one, but this time went downwards. Or maybe not that much of a curve, Chris. And ooh, moved it down a bit more so it doesn't cut in too much. Unsure about that one. And then I think I created a little gabled roof moment here. Might be a touch tricky to do on camera, but you know what? I'm going to live with the struggle and show you what real life building is like. Think something like this. Maybe let's just bring you down a touch so you're meeting. I can see you not aligning. Fine for now. And then I think I added another gabled roof on this corner. Dragged it across. Go to my reference images. I think what I did is had this room slightly smaller actually, because this is 2 across according to my reference images. Oh, maybe not. I think I just moved it in a slightly different manner, but that's fine. We can figure it out. Lower it down slightly. Play around with the sizing. And then here, I also did the same, I think. Just go to the back section. Yeah. Add another half gable. Maybe just... Oh. I do not want to unhide. Thank you very much. But I lifted this up so it met with the top roof line. And then this came in a touch smaller. Let's just carve that piece out. Copy over. It's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle doing roofing, I find. And it's often why I do it away from camera because things can go wrong very quickly. But I just like creating cool shapes, doing these kind of old school cottagey like builds. And you'll see this very much in real life. We actually went to, a few weekends ago, we went to Soho Farmhouse, which is, oh, I'm actually unsure where it is, but it's in the countryside, obviously, in the Cotswolds. And we drove through the village to get there, and it was so picturesque and really beautiful. And there was a lot of thatched cottages, actually, which was great inspiration for this World series. I think I'm just going to create a 3 there, just to give us a little bit more space for an actual room inside the building. And then on the front part of the build, I might decrease the size of this half gable and lift it up there. Oh, maybe don't get hold of the willow tree, Chris. Do I want to match that in or not? I think I might maybe use some of the roof pieces that came with Cottage Living, actually. Let's get the chimney in. Now I think I did... Don't know if that was too high or not, looking at it now. We can keep it there for now. So I'd quite like to choose some wallpapers together. Thinking of using the stone that we used in Finchwick, or potentially we could use the one that came with the pack. A cobble. It's quite nice in that beigey tone. I want to do a mix actually of wallpapers on this build. I think it'd be quite sweet to have some Tudor-esque boarding. Yeah, let's do this lower level in this swatch. And then, sorry, if you see me looking over, it's just because I'm looking at some wallpapers. And I think what I did, I created this roof in 2 parts so I could add 2 different wallpapers. Now, was it in the stone area? Yes, it was. I think I just went for this. Get together? Is that correct? Pack? And went for this swatch on the sides. I think I even went for a decorative swatch in this section. Yeah, this one. I like that with this pack we got a bit of variation with the wallpapers. It's always very useful for building, I find. That looks sweet. And then as for the chimney breast, I used a very muted painted brick, which I think is potentially this one. Maybe just use it in the lightest swatch. Again, I'm unsure on the height of that chimney breast, so I may change it. I think that's looking okay for now. Let's get the roof pattern in, which I think is really going to make all the difference. Let's try and find the matching one. Is that the matching one? Or is it that one? I think it's the latter. Yeah, let's add this on every section and then we can figure out, oh, maybe not on you. Then we can figure out what flaps to pull in and what to leave out. Looks nice here in this back part. Just wish we'd be able to colour the underside of the roofs, which I believe is going to be possible in the new EP, which I'm very excited about. But unfortunately, I'm going to be in Brazil when that pack is released, which, I mean, great for me being on holiday, but also kind of sad that I won't be able to create some timely content for you guys. So I'll definitely make sure to make up for it when I'm back. Looking forward to kind of creating a B&B, which is really useful actually, because this save file, I want to create a bed and breakfast in a different part of the world. So if that's going to be implemented into the game, thank you very much to The Sims for making that a possibility, hey? I want to get some of the thatched, is it these? Yeah, thatched pieces. And I think from trial and error, I had to use the tool mod to get some of these pieces to sit down. As you can see, they're rising. So for now, just pretend that these are in the right section. Where's the one that's just got the front piece? Oh, it's this one. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to play around with the roofing here just to perfect it. Just going to add this detail away from camera. As you can see, the struggle is real. And then we'll be back and we can add some windows and doors to this little cottage. Thing has been added. What I ended up doing was taking the main part of the roof away, just so these wouldn't jump up for some reason. I'm not sure why they did. So I didn't even need to use the tool mod, which is great news for me. But I love the finishing touches. So it's quite nice taking a bit of inspiration from the world, seeing these over here in the distance. Let's pick out a chimney. I wonder if I go for the one that's from Cottage Living. So you think this wall height is now far too tall for this build in particular. So I'm wondering if we switch it up. Maybe this one. And then I can use the platforms to slightly rise this up. Where are you? No, get rid of you, please. Okay, so if I pop you in, maybe I might have to size you down, you know. And then I lift you up for about that height. And then do you come in a nice beigey swatch? Oh yes, you do. Beautiful. Yeah, that's much better. Get a wall trim as well. Choose a stone trim. Do I want to go for this or this? Does it really matter? No, it doesn't, Chris. But I still like choosing it anyway. Lovely stuff. And as you can see, I've pulled out a few windows that we can use for this build. Just trying to determine what kind of swatch I would like to use. Didn't know whether to go for something that had the gold accent or the beige, and I think I might lean towards the beige number, given that the stone is kind of in keeping with the rest of the stone that we're using for this cottage. So let's go for that, I think. So I'd quite like to have a bay moment here. I'm unsure where exactly these windows will go, so again, this could be subject to change. I'm wondering if I just center it below this little roof toupee. And I'd quite like to climb some ivy around this build. Make it look very, very cottagey, as you can imagine. Now, instead of using a double moment, I like that these window came with some shutters. And I really do enjoy this extra detailing on there. So I might just push them close together. If I boost out this wall, wondering if it's too low actually. Although you will find actually in cottages that windows are very low. I certainly couldn't live in one given my height, so which is a shame. Are you in the right swatch? I think this swatch itself is just a touch darker than the one we've got going on there. And I also couldn't find a small window that I liked, so I ended up going for this different variation that came with cottage living and use this number here. Might just sink this roof down a touch so it doesn't cut too much into the window. If I pull the flaps in this way, not you, will that impede anything upstairs, I wonder? No, it doesn't. I think that's a bit of a nicer finish actually. I wonder if I can do it for this one, although I'm not sure it will match up all too well. Unsure why that's a slightly different height. Oh, I guess because it's a different piece. And also the way it's angled. Oh, I like how it matches her though. I think I'm going to do that. That was unplanned. Yeah, I just like the finish on this corner. Can't really do it here because it bushes out. Also, technically, the home that connects to this one will share this wall, so it doesn't really make sense bringing a roof line over there. We will get around to picking a front door. I'm going to choose this double moment on the back. Just nestle it under the toupee. I love that they called it a toupee. I'm unsure if that's a real thing. I'd love to have a property with a thatched roof, but I believe it's really expensive upkeep every year, which, you know, makes sense. Like in the tens of thousands upkeep, which is crazy. Let's copy over the two. There's a nice space for a two here. Then maybe we can get a back door. Really like to make use of Peacemakers. See, I got that wrong in my last part. Peacemakers Grange mudroom kit and create some mudrooms for these cottages, especially for those who have dogs, you know. For a front door, I'm wondering if we go for one that comes with cottage living too, but not in the bright green. I'd like, oh, that's nice, the blue. I'd like every house to have the same aesthetic, you know, nothing too crazy. And potentially, I was thinking for the single parent and the child to have like a little modern extension, but I'm getting sidetracked. I'd like every frontage to look the same but have different colour variations, so I'm wondering if this might be a nice starting point. The blue looks nice with this colour scheme. Do we have one of those, what do you call them? The things that go over the door, the awnings. Yes, another toupee. I was wondering if that's cutting in too much into the door, but I don't want it to go too much into the roof line. Let's have a look under. Oh, it is slightly. It's not very good. I have to go a bit higher, unfortunately. Unless I pull it over a touch. Be a bit better. Again, all subject to change once we get actually into the interior. So yep, can't put any windows in this wall, given that it'll be an internal wall. I think that's okay for now. Maybe you could sneak in another mini window on this corner. Unsure again what to do in this area. Let's add some detailing onto this build, shall we? I'm wondering if we could use, since I loved using this wisteria for Henford Manor, and it'll definitely appear in other builds, but I think I've overused it a touch now. I'm wondering if we can use the ivy that came with Enchanted by Nature. Now I believe that's actually in wall decorations, which I'm not really understanding why it's not in the build catalogue as well. So just through sheer memory that I remembered it was in this area. I like the variation between that or the orange. Ooh, very uncertain. I think let's be a bit, not boring, a bit safer and go for the white. Really nicely frames that window, I thought. Wish there was more pieces that came with this pack. I know we have 2 variations of the ivy, but this is a bit tricky to build and make look natural. Let's go back into the build catalogue, shall we? Might try and build it out as well with some vines, bramble vines. Oh, they're called the Bramble family. You know what, let's definitely put some of these on here as well. Again, building in the moment. Don't know if I like the yellow there. Let's get down to this level. Guess that's the nicest one that will fit to it. Oh, I just made that connection. Very happy. Size you down a touch. And do we have a... Oh, you're a bit big. We'll definitely fill out this area with some secondary ivy, I believe. I like that these go behind the shutters as well. Adds a bit of dimension to the build, you know. Been obsessed with adding greenery to the front of my build. I know also you can add it to the roof lines now, which is very handy, but I don't think I'm going to do it for this build, or many builds. I find it's kind of very rooted into the Enchanted by Nature pack, which is fine, you know. It's not always my style. I try my best to make things look as realistic as possible. And I'll always go away off camera and try and perfect it over time. Again, gardening with Chris. We did this with Henford Manor, and actually you guys kind of enjoyed it, so I enjoy doing a slower pace build sometimes. Find it very calming and therapeutic, as I always mention. It's also nice to see, well, what I like watching on YouTube is people's process and why they choose things as they're building. And the reasoning behind things. Sometimes there is no reasoning, especially when I'm doing gardening. I just, well, Sims gardening, landscaping. I just do it by eye more than anything. There is absolutely no skill whatsoever. There are definitely people I've come across that are incredible landscapers in this game. And I would not say I am that kind of person, but I do try my best. Yeah, maybe add some of these extra pieces so it really looks overgrown. See, just adds a touch more personality to the build, I guess. A bit more detail. I'm umming and ahhing whether to use some flowers. This piece that came with Get Together. Bit bright. Maybe we could save that for another build on Willow Way. I really like the idea of doing a cul-de-sac. Felt very community based, and also a great opportunity to build multiple houses on one lot. I know the for rent pack is a bit janky, and what I have done is split each unit up based on their postcode. but hopefully it'll be fine. And they're also doing the base game update while I'm away in Brazil, so I have that to look forward to, and also probably a good thing that in case anything goes wrong, I won't be able to record. So as we know with The Sims, sometimes things do go a bit awry. Yeah, that's nice. I'd definitely like to carry some form of ivy into the next house as well. But the doors here, oh, that could be an issue, having the fireplace so close to the front door. I wonder if I switch this around. I'm going to do that. I'm going to switch this chimney breast around and we can get back to planning. Okay, I've relocated the fireplace. There's an unfortunate roofing glitch, which I'm unsure how to solve. But I do think it's better having this chimney breast in this corner. Gives us a bit more space to work with. And then I can maybe nestle in a back door here. So looking at it that way, I guess we're going to have a kitchen at the back. If we do a faux counter in this space, let's just make sure the windows are the right height. Got one, which is a bit annoying. Or I could use some of the smaller ones. That might be a bit better, actually. Let's do the smaller ones. Just manually lift you up a touch. Yeah. Just really wanted to make sure I was adding ivy in the right place more than anything. I'd love to fill this with a ton of ivy. Let's use the shift key, shall we? It's a nice little trick somebody actually told me about, which is surprising since I've played The Sims for so long. Sometimes I forget that we have keyboard shortcuts. I do want to try my best to ensure that when the walls go down, you're not seeing too much of the ivy in the way. I know for gameplay purposes it's not the best. Size you down so you're not cutting in too much. I also always find myself building at a distance sometimes. I'm unsure why. I think I quite like seeing things in the full frame and ensuring everything looks relatively okay. Although, as I mentioned, I do always go away from camera and perfect it if needs be. You know what I mean? It's like nice that we've got some ivy that's dimensional, but I just wish we had more variations of it. Particularly a vertical part, which would have been ideal. Try and match you in there, shall we? It's nice how it peeks out. Nice space of a door as well. And the goal for this part is just to get as much of the detailing as possible done on this cottage, and also potentially work on their garden. So it might be a bit of a long one for once, and I hope that's okay with you guys. Yeah, let's move you down. I might have to manually move this one down with the tool mat actually, since you're not... Oh, not you. You picking up? Thank you. Let's do a minus 0... actually, minus 0.5? Yes, perfect. Just to fill out that space a bit more. I love this world. I love this lot as well. It's really nice. Feels very integrated into the countryside. Get some brambles as well. Bramble vines. Maybe just pop you in where it all makes sense. Get a horizontal boy as well. As for a back door, I might just use the one from Cottage Living actually. Do we have a matching blue swatch? We do. It's quite sweet. And that gives us room to add another window here actually, which is ideal. Now you are a bit high, but we can get to that once we get into the interior. Speaking of, we're not going to add anything of note, but I think I might just pull out a fireplace so I know where everything is going. Oh, before I forget, let's get a post box or a mailbox according to the game. Technically, you would have it in the doorway, which actually this door swatch has, but it doesn't function. Kind of wish they'd coded that into the game so we didn't have to add any on the wall. Let's go for this one, I think. In a... I mean, red's very British, but it also looks very red against this wall. Cream? I don't know. That could be subject to change. I think while I'm here, let's add some cars to the street. I think that makes sense in this area. Pretend it's parked up. Do I need to size you down? Oh no, I don't. That miniature car. And then we've got one of these little streetcars, which I think is quite cute. Obviously it's not realistic since, you know, these don't actually work. Just enough space actually to drive around. That looks really cute. Let's grab this stone wall. On this back. I guess, yeah, this entire back wall will be here. What kind of gates do we have? I'm wondering if I could use one from Debug instead. To give us a bit more to work with. It's a shame that we don't have the matching stone. It matches with the blue, but let's put it there for now. And then maybe we could change that. But yeah, I thought it'd be quite sweet that the neighbours that live on this lot share a garden. Or at least an entryway to the grounds, I guess, beyond. And this will be also their part of land as well. I think what I'll do as well after this part is map out the frontage to this lot with some walls and just like street looking things, so like grates and benches, and I think we've got a post box, I believe, in the catalogue, in the debug catalogue, so I might bring that out just to make it look a little bit more characterful. Let's get a little step in and finish this part off with some landscaping of their little garden. I'm a bit stumped for what to do in this back garden, so I'm just going to go away, map things out, pull out some foliage and flowers, and we can start placing it all together and wrap up this part. I'll see you in 2 shakes of lamb's tail. Okay, I'm back and I have some lovely things to show you. So I've mapped out a very rough looking pond, which we'll perfect over time beneath the willow tree. Got some outdoor seating area. I really like this swatch actually. This, I believe, is from Island Living. I've done some stepping stones and then pulled out a colour palette that we're going to extend around the garden. Going for some cool purples, blues, touches of white. I was trying my best to match the grass green colours, but tried and failed. But what really inspired the colour scheme was these flower boxes from Cottage Living. I've pulled out a trellis with some flowers as well, just to add some detail onto the wall. So I think the best place to start is adding some hedges around this curved part of the wall. It's not really for privacy reasons since you can't actually just peep over the fence itself, but I quite like the fact that it's going to be a very community-based cul-de-sac, so it's almost implied that the neighbours would be peeping over the fence and talking to the Brambles who live in this little cottage. So I quite like that it's easily observed from the street. And I mixed in a little bit of grass around the edges, tried to make it look as wild as possible, but actually these two Sims that live in this cottage are very avid gardeners, so I imagine they do tend to this garden every day if they can and keep it looking in good shape. I think I might just size this grass down a touch And yeah, I was looking for inspiration images, and what I came across was a lot of wild floral gardens, which is something I definitely wanted to replicate in The Sims in this area. Just trying to figure out the right balance of where to put things though. It's all about seeing from a distance. I'm just talking absolute rubbish, so please ignore me while I'm trying to do this. But yeah, it's more so just like figuring out where the density is going to be with the gardening and where it's going to be more sparse and light. I think that's what adds the realism to when I landscape. I think I might pull this hollyhock out. A bit more of a feature plant that. And let's grab you. And I've got to mention a lot of this is from the debug catalog. It's where I found a lot of my landscaping, and in turn it actually keeps the cost down of each lot, which is something I'm here for. Although this definitely probably won't be a starter home price. Let's add... Ooh, what can I put in this corner that we're missing? Well, let's add more daisies in this curve. Bit of lavender in this corner and here. Also pulled out these really sweet mushrooms that came with cottage living. I think you're a bit big actually. And I'll probably add some of the grass single items that came with that pack bordering the fence. Where can Miss Hollyhock go? I think you see what I mean about the green. It's like this is a very vivid, bright green that doesn't really work with the more realistic looking green swatches, so it's fine. Things don't have to be perfect. It's just some things that I probably notice myself that no one else would really notice. Quite like to have something that's a bit higher in this section. Oh, not you. Could use this tall shrub just to fill the void. Touch. And I don't really mind if it cuts into there, as long as it just doesn't cut into the main part of the build, the neighbour's house. Yeah, I think that just adds in a bit of height to this landscaping, which is much needed. Might put one in that corner as well. Again, I wish it was a touch darker, but it is what it is. And then I might just journey to cottage living. Where are you? Let's see what we have. We have some grass pieces, which I know I definitely want to use on this section. Nice you down. Maybe one more as well. I mean, this is so minuscule a detail, but I know it's there, so... Quite like to pride myself on adding details to these Cotswold-inspired builds. They do make a difference. A splay of grass in that corner. These willow trees are from debug as well, actually. I think it's really nice. I just thought it was quite a nice moment to have below the willow tree to have a little pond in this section. So if I do some terrain painting, I wonder whether to bring out even more flowers just around this corner. Really make it feel as wild as possible. A real mix of iris and daisies. Be interested to know what your favourite flower is. I quite like hydrangeas. They don't last that long, which is a bit unfortunate. And I do like a classic rose as well. Vin really likes lilies. And I do too, but I find them sometimes a bit too fragrant in a home. My mum loves lilies as well. And I thought it'd be nice to have a table with an umbrella. Very old school. We just added a bit more life to this section. Unsure what to do what swatch to use, what wall swatch to use for this house when we get to it. But I think for now, just for the visual, just going to keep that here. Probably won't have a window in this wall either. I think that's too much of a peeping situation with the neighbours. Let's perfect this, shall we? Let's go to smooth, adjust it down, and also the speed as well. I will be adding some foliage though to switch it up and hide the sins. Let's use a decent, I think the one I had before was fine actually. A terrain swatch. Pond effects. Now, what would be in here? Definitely tadpoles, that's for sure. Add a couple in this corner. And then probably not a swan. Oh, maybe not a fish either. Let's do a dragonfly beneath the willow. I think that's enough. Let's grab some landscaping. Now, shrubbery-wise, we need something that is going to hide the sins of those awkward corners. Okay, I've used the tool mod just to perfect the bushes bordering the lake. Make it feel a little bit more realistic. Added some stones as well, which I think really helped. And I quite like to border this with a couple of irises, a couple of wildflowers. Maybe go for some daisies if you can fit them in. Do we have frogs in this game actually? It would have been nice to have a frog in this corner. Random thought of the day. Let's pull in some of these reeds as well. I think they're appropriate in this area. Size you down. These are from the debug. As I mentioned, where I always find my flowers for landscaping. Since there's so much more variety. It's kind of a shame that they don't include that in the main game, especially for console users who, I guess, miss out on being able to delve into the catalogue. Yeah, that's looking very pretty. Probably, no doubt, perfect this off camera, but I'm really happy with how it's looking so far. And then in this corner, I might just add more of this landscaping, so I'm just going to add that now, and then we can get to work on this outdoor seating area. I've brought this corner to life with some landscaping. Also pulled out a couple of bits before we get to work on the outdoor seating area, including a decorative birdhouse. This won't be functional, but I just quite like how it looked in this area. And then also a bird bath as well, which I think is functional, but correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe put you in that corner. And then, since the Brambles like gardening so much, I think let's add some actual usable gardening pots, shall we? Maybe let's do that in that shade. Do a couple around. Oh, where can we put them? Where can we put them? Maybe one here, one in this corner. Also pulled out this cooler and picnic basket, so I thought maybe quite nice to have a very twee British outdoor seating area. So without further ado, let's choose the right table. So we do have these that have the umbrella already in, so I think I might just go for one of those for ease. I'm actually going to go for a picnic bench instead. Just give us a bit more room to put things on. I really love this object. Let's do it in a blue. And it's also usable. And I'm thinking maybe just to pop this in the corner. Just for visual gameplay purposes, I suppose. Almost as if the Brambles can pick it up and go on a little hike around the area. Their outfits actually play into that storyline that they love hiking and taking their miniature schnauzer on countryside walks, so I guess that would make sense there. I'm wondering whether I can squeeze in a grill actually. Maybe something that looks really old school. Oh, I like that shade. And let's get a little light for this picnic bench. Something that looks outdoorsy. Probably a lantern in that case. Maybe like this. If I size you down, will it look? I know, I don't mind it there actually. Let's do a little white one. Sweet. And to finish things off, let's add some potted planters around here. So I've added these planters at the back just for a bit of extra detail, and then I think I'm definitely going to use these customizable pots in areas that need it, I guess, for a bit of extra detail. Might just switch up the swatches though. The great thing about these items is that you can do that. That is a very sweet looking back garden. Made lots of progress today with 4 Willow Way. Definitely go away off camera, you know, add some extra detailing. Also some lights as well, which I know we haven't added in this part. But I think I've gone as far as I can today. Let's get on a good shot. Maybe let's get into the garden since it's looking very pretty at this time. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you do, please give it a like and subscribe. In the next part, we'll move into the interior now that we've got the basis of the build and the landscaping down, and just focus on the ground floor, I think. Maybe make sense of the kitchen area, a really cozy kitchen. And also coming up will be some speed builds on the channel. I'm actually currently building an autumnal coastal cabin kind of vibe build, so be on the lookout for that as well. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye!